One video, 10 fixes. Incompatible SKSE build. Find your game version number. Navigate to your Steam file directory. Double-click on Steam Apps. Double-click Common. Double-click Skyrim Special Edition. Look down and find the Skyrim SE.exe application. Right-click on it. Select Properties. Look for the Details tab at the top of the box. Click it. Here you will see the product version, in this case 1.6.353. Now visit skse.silverlock.org. Find the build version for your game version. If your Steam version is not listed here, visit Archived Builds. Find the correct version here and install. Be sure to remove any previous SKSE files before installation. SKSE Crash to Desktop. By default, Steam and all Steam apps are installed inside of program files on your PC's hard drive. This is considered by Windows to be the safest place for these applications to be installed. Safe is good, right? Not when it comes to modding. When you launch SKSE from within program files, Windows Protection will shut it down automatically to protect the system files, as SKSE manipulates the game files. That's its job. Windows sees this as a threat and shuts it down. Install Steam outside of program files. This may require you to reinstall Steam completely, which can be frustrating, but it's better to get it done now, and then you don't have to worry about it in future and any future games you wish to mod. Your other option is to grant Steam admin permissions. This will allow them to bypass Windows protection. The first method is to right-click on the SKSE application and select Run as Administrator. Windows will double-check if you wish to continue, click Yes. The issue with this method is that you might be required to do this every time you wish to launch the game. Method 2 is to grant administrator privileges permanently. To do this, right-click on the application and select Properties. Navigate to Compatibility, check the box that says Run as Administrator, and click Apply. SKSE not compatible. You may have had SKSE working perfectly fine, then all of a sudden you load up and it stopped working. Every time Bethesda updates Skyrim, SKSE needs to be updated as well to work with it. And by default, Steam will update automatically behind the scenes whenever it is able to. You can wait for the new SKSE version to be released, but for future, you can prevent Steam from updating automatically. In the top left-hand corner, click the Steam tab. Select Settings, navigate to the Downloads tab. Under Download Restrictions, check the box to only auto-update games between. In the first drop-down box, select 3 AM. In the second, select 4 AM. Uncheck the box that says Allow downloads during gameplay. Click OK. Next, navigate to your Skyrim Special Edition or Anniversary Edition page. Right-click on the title in the left-hand panel. Select Properties. Navigate to Updates. Under Automatic Updates, choose Only update this game when I launch it. Under Background Downloads, select Never allow background downloads. Now close this window. You can also prevent Steam from having the ability to actually implement an update. In your File Explorer, visit Steam and Steam Apps. Find the file App Manifest 489830. Right-click on this file and select Properties. Under Attributes, select Read Only and Apply. This prevents Steam from being able to attempt an update. Of course, if you choose to update at some point, you will have to reverse this to be able to. So only do this if you know what you're doing. You can use the official Downgrade Patcher to revert your game back to a previous version. The Downgrade Patcher is available on Nexus Mods. I will leave a link in the description below. Ensure you locate the correct version from the list. The files listed at the top of the mod page will revert your game back to 1.5.97. This was the last special edition build before the release of Anniversary Edition. 1.6.629 was a bust, but to make things worse, Bethesda then released 1.6.640 as an update to fix the previous one, throwing everything off and now making mods 2 versions out of date. Nice one, Bethesda. Seriously, just stop. Leave the game alone. About the Downgrade Patcher, it will not work with the GOG version of the game. SKSE But No Mods. Forget your Skyrim launcher and forget the Skyrim application itself. You will always need to now use SKSE to launch the game. To make things a little more confusing, for those using Mod Organizer 2, you need to use SKSE through Mod Organizer 2 to ensure that the mod files are implemented into the game. If you launch SKSE from the directory of Skyrim itself, it skips over MO2, so none of the mods get loaded in. You can add SKSE to the toolbar on MO2 to make it easier to launch. You can also create a desktop shortcut from here in which you can launch from there too. Skyrim.esm and update.esm missing. If you get a prompt that the files Skyrim and update.esm are missing, these are your core game files. This means that either SKSE or the game itself has been incorrectly installed. You can also verify the integrity of the game files. You can do this on Steam itself. To verify the integrity of the game files, visit Steam, right-click on Skyrim and select Properties. Select Local Files. Select Verify Integrity of Game Files. I would suggest running Skyrim normally for the first time, especially if you have just installed it, because it needs to generate configuration files, so if it's a clean installation, run it first. If it works correctly, then the issue is with SKSE. If you have recently reinstalled Skyrim in a new location, if you have moved any of the files that it requires, SKSE will not be able to find the files it needs. Check your game directory paths. Please note, cracked or illegitimate versions of the game itself will not work. You cannot expect the smooth running of the game using files that have been downloaded in these ways. Firewall and Anti-Virus. There is a possibility that antivirus or Windows Firewall are preventing communication between SKSE and the game. The best thing to do in this case is add SKSE as an application to the exemptions list on your firewall. Firewall access. Click Start. Click Settings. Click Update and Security. Click Windows Security. Click Firewall and Network Security. Click Allow an app through Firewall. Click Change Settings. Select the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Also select any version of the Steam applications. Click OK. Windows Defender. Click Update and Security. Click Windows Security. Click Virus and Threat Protection. Click Manage Settings. Under Virus and Threat Protection settings, scroll down to the exclusions. Click Add or Remove Exclusions. Click Add an exclusion and select Folder. Navigate to your Skyrim installation folder and select it. Your SKSE is installed inside your game directory. By selecting your Skyrim game directory itself as an exclusions, it'll allow the contents of that folder to do its job, therefore allowing SKSE to run. Antivirus. You need to ensure that the folders are added to the exceptions list on any antivirus you use. This may vary depending on any antivirus software you use, so find a way to access the exemptions list and ensure you add Skyrim to it. Defective or corrupted mods. The problem could lie with a mod itself that you have enabled. Here are some examples. Mods that have not been updated to use with the latest version of Skyrim or SKSE. Always check the mod page for when it was last updated. If it has any compatibility issues with the game or other mods themselves. I also suggest checking the forum page because you might be able to see others writing about the same problem. Sky UI has been a huge culprit for this recently. Keep an eye on mods like Race Menu, Console Utility, Papyrus Extender, XP32 and SSE engine fixes, as these are all big mods that do require updating, mods that have been discontinued or are no longer updated. This could be because of the mod author moving on to other projects, or for whatever reason, mods that specifically conflict with another mod you are using. It can have a negative effect and even cause errors or crash the desktop. Check the compatibility of that mod if there are any errors and go from there. Ghost files left behind from previous installations or mod builds are another culprit of this. Vortex is notorious for this, and this is why many choose to use MO2 over Vortex because of the files left behind when adding and removing mods. Trial and error is really the only way to pinpoint a mod causing these problems. I use a 50% rule as a good starting point, so disable 50% of the mods and run the game. If the game runs correctly, then you know it's within the 50% that you've disabled. If it's still happening, it's the other 50%. With those mods, do the same again, halve them and keep going until you can pinpoint the mod that's causing this. Every time you install a mod, run the game, see if the mod works correctly before moving on to the next one, just in case that one is causing the problems. I'm constantly trying to stay updated with any errors or issues that come up with. If you have a problem that hasn't been answered by one of these methods, please leave me a comment below. I'd like to investigate it and look into it. If these fixes above have actually worked, please give us a thumbs up. That being said, it's a perfect time for a brew. Until next time. More updates, more problems. Did I really just...